Hello and a very good morning to our US listeners. So we're going to take a bit of a preview for the headline data today and this week. So that's the US non-farm payroll number for May. So current consensus for this number is at plus 150,000, with the range being 75 to 195,000. The previous reading did come in at 119,000, so any revision to this number could be pretty key determining sentiment. The one prior to that came in at plus 154,000. So it's just worth a note taking a look at some previous recent employment data out of the US. The ADP number yesterday, that did miss expectations slightly, so we saw a bit of weakness in terms of the US equity markets and also the T-note making a move to the upside. And we also saw a slight miss on the initial jobless claims number. However, the average going into today's non-farm number is at around 373,000. Going into the previous non-farm number, that was at 378,000, so slightly more strength in the employment number going into today's reading. However, it's worth a note in terms of employment components for manufacturing numbers that we've seen, Chicago PMI and Empire Manufacturing, those employment components have been coming in line. One factor that may influence today's number could be the headwinds that have been facing corporate profits, just leading to a bit of a slowdown in terms of hiring. However, analysts not paying too much attention to that going into today's number. In terms of market reaction from the headline today, if there's a reading lower than around 120,000, we could see some pretty significant downside in terms of these US stock futures and a pretty aggressive move to the upside in terms of T-notes. And any real disappointment could see renewed speculation over QE from the FOMC, and that has been the case in terms of data recently, if it has been particularly negative. Any reading above around 200,000, that could see some pretty aggressive optimism back in the market, so some moves higher in terms of the US equity markets and consequently a move lower in terms of the fixed income markets. That any reading above 200,000 would be above the top end range for today's expectations. But that number today, that's due at 1:30 London time. Again, headline expected at plus 150,000. But for the time being, that's enough from me. Hope you have a very pleasant trading day and good luck with non-farms.